It has been a long time coming, but here I am. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are going to review CXC English B May June 2018 paper. I am Jamain Hatton, and this is the review of CXC English B 2018. Today happens to be the 21st day of March in the year 2019. Let's go into that review. Before we get into the actual review, let me stop to ask you, how is your preparation for mathematics coming? You cannot just pass English B with a grade 1, you have to also pass mathematics with a grade 1. To help you pass mathematics, I have included a link in the description to a friend of mine, Kerwin Springer's math camp on Facebook, on YouTube here. He's doing an amazing job, both with the technology and with the math. So go ahead and check him out. He's going to make you do well. He's going to make you pass. All right? Good. So check that out. Pass by both math and English. We are going to start with reviewing the poetry aspect of the 2018 English B paper. And the first option of the poem is actually what we're going to focus on today, and you will have a little bit of homework before you leave. So poetry, the first question reads, "My Parents and Dreaming Black Boy are poems in which the speakers yearn to be accepted. Write an essay in which you focus on this theme in these two poems. For each poem, you must describe one instance in which the speaker's yearning to be accepted is evident. You must also discuss how each speaker responds to this feeling. And finally, for each poem, you must examine one device used to portray the speaker's yearning for acceptance." The question totally is 35 marks. You get separate marks for your content, you get separate marks for your organization and your language use. So you have to be careful on the ball of things throughout the exam. So I started by telling you just now that you will get separate marks for your content and your language and organization. Following from what we used to mark the paper 2018 English B paper, this scheme here, this mark scheme, shows the examiner that we are going to award separate marks for your content, what you actually put in the essay, and separate marks for your language and your organization. So you have to be able to organize your material with an introduction, a body, and conclusion. You cannot forget either of them. And I'm stressing on the thing that you have to write an essay. I've had to mark papers where people put points and jot points down as an essay. That is not an essay. You will lose marks for language and organization if you put points. You are writing this thing in an essay format. They have to see nice, clear paragraphs. CXC has to see nice, clear paragraphs when you are writing, all right? So you have to be careful with that. So you're going to be given marks for your organization, your introduction, conclusion, your body, how well your paragraphs are developed. Your grammar must be excellent. Your sentence structure must be excellent. You must flow nicely, and there must be appropriate linking in your sentences, in your paragraphs as you write. All right? Good. So in the CXC exam, just before you start writing your essay, there will be a nice little box that says you can make notes here, but this will not be assessed. So you can go ahead and put your little jottings there of how you want to go about answering this question. In your body, this is where you're going to actually answer the question that they're asking you to answer. So you can have a little sketch like I have here, what's going on in both poems. So you can have something that reminds you of what is going on in My Parents and what is going on in Dreaming Black Boy, so you know how to write. I've included here the instances that I'm going to discuss in both poems. So I have, first of all, the longing to be accepted by his peers. That's one instance. And then the next instance it says, Dreaming Black Boy was longing to be accepted by the teacher and society and even himself. So you can talk with any one of those, right? Then I have a little device as well as I'm asking the question, how did this make you feel? So this would be able to guide you while you write. All right, so you have to start by saying, discuss the instance. When you describe that instance completely, then you say how this writer felt about what is going on, and then you go on to discuss the device. So you can see that nice order there, that format you can follow to help you ensure you answer every aspect of the question. Now, I don't intend to read this entire thing for you. If I do, the video will be too long. So what I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to read the introduction for you and probably the first line or so in the first body paragraph. But you're going to pause the video and read the entire thing out. Or if you wish to go and download the PDF document, I have a link in the description to. You can go ahead and do that. It's basically going to guide you as to everything I have here. By no means is this sample and a sample that was written by in a CXC exam, by anybody in a CXC exam. This is just me using the CXC mark scheme and my own knowledge to go ahead and give you a sample of an essay that you possibly can write. What I like about English B is the fact that the syllabus always tell markers that it is not exhaustive. The student can think of anything new and add to it and adequately describe or support his ideas with evidence from a poem or evidence from a book or evidence from the drama. So it's not exhaustive. You don't always have to talk about these things here and it's written in stone. No. You can write and explain yourself and you will be given marks, right? So the teachers are given a guide as to what are some of the possible answers they can look forward to when they mark CXC English B questions, but it's not the only answer. That's what I'm saying. It's not the only answer. So let's get into this sample here I have here for you. Stephen Spender and James Berry both took their readers on exciting journeys where they encapsulated different yearnings for acceptance. This essay seeks to describe the individual yearnings, the speaker's feelings towards the same, and of course, discuss excellent examples of devices used by each poet. So that's my example of the introduction. You have to have an introduction, right? However you choose to do it, you're free to do so. But I often tell my students, look at the question that you're given and formulate the introduction following that question. And this again guides you as to how you write your essay, so you know what you have to write when you finish with one aspect. All right. So what you can do, you can describe one poem completely, all aspects of the question, or you can do the poem side by side with the next poem. What I've done in this essay here is just to completely look at the poem My Parents, and then completely look at the poem Dreaming Black Boy. So I can start by saying here, in My Parents, a person or a child recalls his attempts to fit into a group he admired, but he was kept away from this group by his parents. My parents kept me from children. So you have to include your little reference from the poem that will be able to get you some marks, right? So show off to the examiner that you actually know what your material is, but don't fabricate. If you fabricate, you will lose marks. So I'm going on now to answer the second aspect of the question that deals with the same poem, My Parents. So the question was asking, how did the persona feel about what was going on? If you can remember the question, go back to the earlier part of the video and get the idea of the question. And that's what you do when you're writing. If you forget what the question was asking you, go back. You still have the paper in front of you. Go back, read the question, come back and continue writing. Don't just write off your head and go off. All right, so it starts by saying here, the little boy Spender described was hurt by the actions of his peers, but he somewhat felt and appeared unbothered by it. He appeared ambivalent. His feelings wavered between wanting to be like the boys and also fearing them. And I go on to give consequences of what I'm talking about. So irony is witnessed in My Parents. So we are saying that it's ironic that the little boy who was mocked, teased, and badly treated wanted to forgive his enemies. And how we know that? We said that he smiled at them, but they never smiled back. That unreciprocated smile tells a great lot. It shows how the two groups, different social classes, continue to be on separate spectrum, never mixing. Those parents just may have been successful. Um, yeah, they may have been successful. So, what I want you to pay attention to here is how conversational this writing appears. You don't have to take on that pattern, but I'm just doing this so you can have an idea that really there's no barrier to how you write in the exam. Just the English must be English, of course. So now that I finished looking at the poem My Parents completely, answering all aspects of the question they asked, I will go on to now look at the poem Dreaming Black Boy, the second aspect of this poetry question. So I said when we examine Barry's Dreaming Black Boy, we see a grossly different yearning. We see a growing black child having to yearn for what is the basic tenet of human existence. The reader can see from the start that the boy was starved of the attention from the people he needed it from the most, his teachers. In class, we painfully see that the teacher ignores him and he badly wished it did not happen. I wish my teacher's eyes wouldn't go past me today. So again, you add in little evidence of what you're saying from the poem to show that you actually know what you're talking about, right? So go ahead and pause this, read this out. How the boy feels, he feels dejected, rejected, and because of this, he remains invisible to society. And that was a society that was defined by racism. His loss of self-confidence is directly connected to the ways the society treated him, definitely. Pause this, read it out. So coming down to the end of this now, it's saying that what you should try to do, and the CXC gives you a little additional mark for it. Though you're talking about the differences in these two poems, you can try and stick in a similarity between them at some point in your essay, all right? So yeah, you largely talk about the differences as to what is going on in the two poems differently, but you can also stick in an example of what is similar between the two poems, like I've done here. In these two poems, though there are many differences, we can see that both of them were written and presented through the eyes of a child. This is what makes them both so sad and mind-boggling. And then you have a conclusion. You must have your conclusion, guys. In closing, the pictures painted through the children in the poems My Parents and Dreaming Black Boy were clear accounts of the yearning for acceptance. One child yearned to be accepted by a backward and racist society, while the other longed to be accepted by the free-spirited, rough bullies. Oh my, what beautiful pictures they were. I'm being a little dramatic here in how I write. This is how I talk. So how I talk is how I write. I'm just trying to show you again that how you write, once the English is good, you are going to be given your marks. It doesn't have to be this stuck-up attitude. You can converse with the marker, and the marker can understand, especially if I'm marking your exam paper, the marker understands that, you know what, this child really understands what they're writing. So the other question that appeared in the 2018 poetry section is this one here. Our actions can have positive and negative effects on others. From the prescribed list, that's the 20 poems that you've been given, choose 2 poems you have studied which show the actions that affect others. Write an essay, again it's an essay, not points, in which you focus on this theme in 2 poems. Right? For each poem, describe one incident in which a speaker's action affects another. You must also discuss how the speaker in each poem reacts to this action. And finally, for each poem, you must discuss one device. Of course, we have done the same thing over and over, really. It's just the same question that is being asked in a different way. So what they're giving you here is that you have to find two poems where an action of someone affects somebody else, and you're going to describe what is going on, describe how the person feels with what is going on, and then use a device to show what is going on. All right. So a question like this: any poem in the prescribed list of poems can be used. There's no individual poem that you have to use. Any poem can be used, all right? So what you have to do carefully, though, is ensure you show the things that they want you to show. For example, one instant, then describe how it affects someone, and then describe the device. There's no right or wrong poem when you choose it. It's all about how you write, right? Mind you, if the question is giving you two poems, you have to use those two poems. And I've had some papers I marked this last year in the exam where persons actually talked about stories, short stories to answer questions like this. No, you have to use poems to answer questions like this, not short stories. All right, guys, that's all the time we have had. I hope you really enjoyed this. Go ahead and look at the description. There's a PDF document to what I've explained here. Read it. Understand it. By no means do your essays have to be that long. I just did that to include as many incidents as I could to help you. If a question like that were to come again, you know how you can answer it with some aspects of other aspects of the incidents, right? I hope you enjoy that. It was nice being with you. Go ahead and share the channel, please. Help your friend get some more subscribers. All right. Goodbye, guys.